The RotoGrinders Daily Fantasy Football Podcast is presented to you by Yahoo Sports Daily Fantasy. Make sure you check them out this upcoming Sunday. They've got their baller contest back, $10 entry, $350,000 prize pool, and a nice 10% to first place. Great payout structure. And as always, make sure you enter their Yahoo Cup, now available for both NFL and NBA. And in NFL, of course, you set the perfect lineup, you can win $1 million. Only over on Yahoo Sports Daily Fantasy.
Welcome back to the Absolutely Epic Early Week Podcast, Week 5. Dean here. That's Dean 7904 if you want to get all technical on me. And I'm bringing along the same usual suspects. Batting first, leading off, it's one Travis Mangone. Mangone, how are things in your world?
Life's treating me well. Can't complain. Sweating Steelers Bengals on a Monday night. What could be better than that?
I love when you say can't complain. You literally complained about 12 seconds before you went on air, but that's fair. You were telling us how terrible Andy Dalton is, but this is your on-air personality, I suppose.
Hey, listen, you can't give all the details. Those are for the subs only.
He's got the all right, Grant, what's going on, dude? How are things in your world? Of course, Grant, you know such things as a Sharp Side app. Mangone too. Both of you guys play over the Sharp Side app. Monkey Knife Fight, the advocator of the Lawnmower 2.0. If you're in a pinch, he's a sneaky good babysitter, and of course, he's the world's last snickerdoodle truther. Grant, how are things out there in Colorado?
You'll see my chuckle. What my chuckle was for later, and Mangone muted himself because I'm sure he was chuckling.
Yeah, not the only snickerdoodle, not the only snickerdoodle truther on this podcast.
Oh no, was there some foreshadowing there that I didn't realize I was doing? So for the people out there that aren't aware, we run a little contest. If it's the first time listening to our show, we pick, each one of us picks a guy, whoever gets the worst guy of the week. The other two come together and force the other person to send out a tweet. And I really got bullied. I got cornered into picking with Adam Humphries last week, which I did it just as a joke. I was just screwing around. It was a terrible decision.
Listen, I got bullied into the Chargers defense. I had to bully you back.
We do not advocate bullying on this podcast, to be clear.
When it's you two, it is.
Yeah,
it's good bullying when it's you two.
But I'm going to pay the piper. I'm going to pay the price, and apparently I'm going to be forced to write a terrible tweet about Snickerdoodle, which is awful. Seriously, ridiculous. Most deceiving name ever for a cookie. It sounds so much more exciting than it actually is. It's okay, but if you're going to have those carbs, have the good carbs, have the best stuff. Why have the nonsense? And you lay out.
There's no carbs in cinnamon.
Well, the actual cookie has carbs.
Yeah. Not if you make it with coconut flour.
Well, okay. In what hypothetical scenario are you making your cookies with coconut flour?
If I'm on the paleo diet, bro. Sweetness with stevia.
We do want to give it a T-shirt. We're going to give it a T-shirt later on in the show as well. Well, actually, for our previous question last week, this is how it goes down. We'll give you guys the question at the end of the podcast if you stick around long enough. This is like the easiest way, honestly, the easiest way to get yourself a RotoGrinders T-shirt. You answer our question that you'll be prompted to do so at the end of the pod. You throw your answer on the, it's actually not in the Twitter and anywhere there where it actually says RotoGrinders on the RotoGrinders page. You put it in the comments section. Last week, Grant, we asked, we wanted to know the question. We asked them, your worst bad beat. And we have a winner, do we not?
We do, in fact, have a winner. Do you want to read it or do I?
You want to read it, and I will comment.
All right, back in 2015, swapped Ivory, Blunt, and Moncrief for Foster, Woodhead, Crowder about 5 minutes before lock. Then he made some pancakes with his daughter. What a good dad. What a good dad. And throughout the day, turns out he was doing really well. Turns out the only entry he didn't swap it out of was the Millie Maker there. Ended up clearing $175K on the day, but would have won the Millie Maker by 3 points. And so essentially that mistake cost him $996,000. And then my favorite part, he adds at the end, and to add insult to injury, Arian Foster got hurt that day. He's my third cousin, so go figure. Which I like the add-on.
Yeah, what are the odds? Mangone, you were saying before, like, this is a $995,000 mistake, I guess you can say, didn't fully export. We've all kind of had those. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Silver lining. I like he has the positive attitude here. He still won $175K, and I'm sure his daughter had some delicious pancakes too. You don't want to bury that.
Waffles are better than pancakes, no question.
But what is the old Mitch Hedberg joke? Because like waffles are just like pancakes with traps. They're essentially the same thing, right?
Well, no, there's a different consistency. Waffles have not only different air density throughout, but they also have a crunchier shell.
Mangone, waffles or pancakes?
Yeah, I mean, why can't I like both? Like, remember when we used to have that debate, Jameis Winston or Marcus Mariota, right? Like, that was like a huge debate.
What year
like,
was that debate?
that was when they got drafted, right? Like, everyone always talked about, like,
That debate happened the
Winston.
same year this, like, blunt Moncrief, Foster, Woodhead lineup was created.
That definitely was when it happened, probably. But, no, my point is, like, listen, if you like Mariota and Winston, you can like both. If you hate them both, you can hate both. You don't have to pick a side on either. You can hate or love both. You know, you can go either way. So I'm going to like pancakes, I'm going to like waffles, and I'm going to like French toast too while I'm at it.
Guys, crepes are the best, though, right?
I was going to say, well, we just going to not acknowledge the existence of crepes? Or, like, what about the super secret answer, French toast? French toast?
It's not super secret. It's just I don't want to eat French toast, like, more than once a month.
Well, you don't have to.
I don't have to do anything I don't want. That's what's being an adult, is about.
Yeah. And you're gonna there is an IHOP, like there's a house of pancakes that can sustain just on pancakes. There's no IHOP. Well, there is a Waffle House, but it might not. There's no house of French toast or crepes, as far as I know. Is that anybody confirm or deny?
Yeah, but it's not like there's like 100 different restaurants in every town, big city. That's just a crepe restaurant.
All right. Well, I suppose. Does Cracker Barrel sell crepes? That'll decide it.
I don't know. I don't think so. Crepes are just tougher to make. That's why. Waffles and pancakes, any idiot can make them.
By the way, I've been told like my job is to keep this like podcast on track, and we have not talked one set of football yet. Like, do you want to just go through all the nonsense now while we're here? Like, I mean,
we're gonna backload it because we have a good question later on. We'll do tweets our consequences later on. But you did good job getting us back on the rails, and I'll tell you the reason why. This is my suspicion. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like we don't want to talk about this slate. This slate is really bad. Of course, we focus on the main slates buys this week. No Detroit, no Miami, no Rams, no Seahawks. They're playing Thursday night. On Monday night is Cleveland and San Francisco. Throw those teams out as well. We have also a Sunday night game you can play on Yahoo, and we were talking about that pre-show. It's like as far as the team totals, we'll kind of dig into it. As far as totals for games, the highest total we have is 48.5, 48 as of right now. The games are not particularly appealing, but of course, certain sites you can play the Chief games, certain sites you can't. Yahoo, of course, you can play the Chiefs that are about 57 team total along with – that's not a team total. It's a total with the Colts on the other side. Is that – Grant, like my first look on this slate is, it's kind of gross, right?
I mean, it's kind of gross. Yes, that is correct. It's just kind of gross. There are a lot of different spites. Like, this is a tough week, which makes it incredible for GPPs, and I'm going to go ham on it. But, like, even cash, like – these are the slates where there's not easy things to do, so cash lineups, you have even more advantage. These are my favorite slates because it's just easier to win money because people make poor decisions and can't figure out they don't have free pieces.
You know, Dean, my best way to describe this slate is kind of like what Grant said. Like, people just won't take the free squares. Like when we're doing our, our challenge last week or whatever you want to call it, like the tweets or consequences, like you're out here getting cute and taking Adam Humphries. Like there are people that are going to do what you did last week. They're going to do that on this slate.
I made it very clear that I did not want that pick. I wanted to change that pick, and for some reason I was not allowed to change that pick. But
you said don't act like it was us forcing you. Yeah. You literally said, I don't like it, but I'm going to go with Adam Humphries. I'm going to beat you with your own guy, Grant. I'm doing this to you.
Yeah, I got a little cocky is what happened, for being honest. And, I played it under protest in my head, but if things didn't work out, and I will pay the consequences soon enough. But yeah, if you were to pick a breakfast food, Mangone, to describe this slate, what would that be? What food are we talking about?
Oh, a breakfast food for this slate? It's not pretty, man. It's probably like, I don't know. I'm not an oatmeal fan, so something like that, or something with like grains and stuff, something gross that I don't
Deviled eggs. Doesn't deviled eggs?
Yes, deviled eggs is not a good thing too.
Deviled eggs are gross.
I'd say it's more like a side of fruit. You don't really like a little cup of fruit as a side for your breakfast, but it's probably a little bit better for you.
I like a side of fruit.
Okay.
No? Strawberries, bananas, pineapple. What's wrong with that? Grapes?
I mean, it's not bacon. It's not
bacon. It's
true. Not waffles.
Let's dive in and break it down position by position, of course, at the top. And again, as far as team totals or even totals in the game, the biggest totals we have is Atlanta and Houston. Oh, we should be clear. We're recording this on a Monday night, so, this is not the last podcast you should listen to. It's the first podcast you should listen to. It's the First Look podcast. As of right now, in the background, we're watching that Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game going on. We kind of hinted at it. We were talking about it as a Dalton. So, again, we're just looking at this essentially for the first time, at least for me, as of like 4 hours ago. Houston, Atlanta's got a 48.5 total. Cincinnati isn't involved in a game with 48 somehow with that dreadful offense, but they are facing Arizona. That's an interesting push-pull. Green Bay versus Dallas is 47. Tampa versus New Orleans is 47. Then we start talking about 45s and lower, all the way down to Buffalo, Tennessee, which is 38.5, and Chicago, Oakland, which has a total of 41. Of course, that game is taking place across the pond in London. Some injuries we're monitoring, just kind of throw them out there. Jamal Williams, currently he's got a concussion, head, neck, currently questionable. Marlon Mack. They said Mack, he didn't really come back late in that game, but they were chasing. Coach did come out and say basically he wasn't officially ruled out for injury reasons. So maybe it was just because he can't catch footballs. Devontae Adams has that turf toe. Landry's got a concussion. Vance McDonald's got a shoulder. Oh, R.I.P. Grant. I'm sorry. My condolences. Josh Allen. Currently, he's got a head. He's got a concussion. We're not expecting him to play?
Well, still play him. Still roster him.
You're going to – I mean, that is an ambitious GPP play.
Everyone's going to be on Andy Dalton, and all you have to do is swap to a guy at the same price that might get positive. Or
he
they'll
might
get
have
0
to
points.
score him.
Yeah, Dalton can get 0 or not -1.
And then, of course, Trubisky is not going to play with his – well, he's doubtful as of right now with his shoulder. Nice matchup against Oakland, but, it's going to be Chase Daniel. Mangone, anything interesting as far as these injuries? Your Packers are all beat up.
Yeah, my Packers are definitely beat up. There's a lot of body parts here, Dean, but Packers are definitely beat up. I'm a little worried about Adams. Apparently he's day-to-day. I saw LaFleur kind of talking about it, so we don't know what's going to happen with that situation. Obviously, there could be some really good value, though, there with the Packers receiver.
They said he's likely not going to play this weekend.
Is that what the report was? Yeah, I didn't read the whole thing.
Me.
When you hear the name of LaFleur, do you automatically think of dodgeball just like myself? Like, I can't help but do it. Is that just me?
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you.
I mean, it doesn't happen right away for me, but I'm not like team movie quotes. Like it takes me forever to get any quotes, and I haven't seen any movies, Dean. But that's a whole nother. We need to reserve a podcast for that one.
I was thinking, man, going at the end, we do our nonsense and then the show like last 5 or 10 minutes or so or something like that. I wanted to play a game like me and Grant we'll throw out a person, and me and Grant we're trying to like guess word association. Like we throw out like Tom Hanks, and it's like, well, we try to get into the mind of Mangone. Like, what is the first thing he thinks of when he thinks of Tom Hanks? And it's probably like something completely absurd, like not the chalk. I don't know. I'm still working on it. I'm workshopping it, but we'll do this soon enough. Are you with me in this, Grant? Does this sound like a normal an idea, or is it's kind of half baked?
I'm with you.
No, I like this idea, but the problem is like that might take a while for me. I'll be like, well, Tom Hanks, he might be in this movie, but I don't know the name of it. Like I'll forget stuff. So
I'll ask you pre-show. I'll pre-screen you, and I won't look at the answers.
Honestly. Yeah, I think that's what you have to do just to make sure, because I'm a disaster when it comes to movies. But let's save that for next week. How's that sound?
That's what we're gonna do. Also, Jalen Ramsey's dealing with a back. You guys can't see us. I did air quotes when I did that. I don't know if he's gonna play or not. He had a lot of ailments, a lot of body parts last week, and he's Rolodexing just on new injuries because it doesn't appear like he's happy being a Jaguar. Bradley Chubb is out for the season with an ACL, and I think this one's kind of a sneaky, big one. We always think about, the skill position players. Tyron Smith, O-lineman for Dallas, is going to be out, and that's a big deal. At least I think it's a big deal, Mangone.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a big deal. Linemen matter. Definitely, people don't realize that in DFS.
The one thing that actually matters.
Yes, it matters a lot. One thing that was pretty big last week is the Ravens. They were missing one of their best defensive tackles, which people are wondering, well, why did the Ravens play bad? It's like, well, listen, that definitely factored into some of it. People are wondering what the reasons were. There's no Jimmy Smith as well. So yeah, these things matter. These injuries add up. So we'll have to monitor that news because that's going to be very important.
Blindside left tackle there, and Zeke's already been kind of, he hasn't been exactly what you wanted necessarily for this season. All right, let's dive in. Let's talk about some quarterbacks, Grant. You lead us off. Because, again, different depending on the slate and where you're shopping. Of course, you can get yourself some Mahomes on Yahoo. We generally focus on the DK main slate. L. Jack's the most expensive guy on the board at 7.1K, then Watson, then Brady, then Murray. It falls off really quickly. Again, it doesn't look like a 12-game slate, but this is where we're at. Quarterbacks, where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, L. Jack's is fine. Watson are fine. They're both in decently high totals. L. Jack's has the rushing upside. Brady's fine in a high total game. Wentz is fine in a high total game. But I don't think those are the guys that I'm probably going to end up going with here. The guys I'm looking at are a bit cheaper. So Kyler Murray is the most expensive of them. Going up against Cincinnati. Cincinnati does not have a great defense. Mason Rudolph just had a great game versus him, which should tell you all you really need to know. Like they're
running Wildcat though. I don't like seeing. I don't want my quarterback losing like touchdown equity with Wildcat out there.
I don't care.
That doesn't bother you?
No.
Okay. Like he wasn't on the field from the 2-yard line.
Yeah, that's fine. That might not happen again.
Coaches, may or may not.
Good offensive coaches don't run the same things week in and week out. The fact that like they haven't seen as much may change things, but in any case, it's also against a whole different team that's much worse on the defensive end. And so, yeah, Kyler Murray in play. I really, really like Phillip Rivers, especially if Mike Williams plays here. Going up against Denver, 5,800. Gordon's coming back. They may think that like they might run the ball more. But Phillip Rivers is perpetually under-owned. He gets his running backs involved in the receiving game. He can put up big yards at any given time. And going up against a Denver defense that really hasn't sacked too many guys so far this season, he, I think, is going to go drastically under-owned. He's only $100 more than Dalton, who I'm still expecting Dalton to draw a decent amount of ownership because he's going up against Arizona. He has a 26.5 implied team total. Ross is injured, so who knows if that'll happen or if he'll be back next week. But in any case, I don't think that matters too much here. AJ Green, is he going to be back next week?
I don't think so.
I also don't know if, like, after this game that Andy Dalton is playing, like, I don't think – and I mean, you know, recency bias is a thing. I don't think anyone is touching Andy Dalton. I get it's the Cardinals, but
people are going to play him.
Yeah. Do you know how bad the slate is?
Yeah, but what's your guess on his ownership then? Like, because the slate
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
It's still quarterback. He's going to be 14%.
I would take the under on 14% on Andy Dalton.
Well, we'll see. But in any case, Andy Dalton's still in play, but probably not going with him. Daniel Jones is in a tough spot. Probably not going with him. Not Sam Darnold. Falk for the Jets. Is it Falk or is what's his name? Code?
Well, so supposedly he was going to be back as of like a week ago, and then I saw some quote him talking about like his spleen, and he didn't sound very optimistic. Darnold, that is, basically suggesting that he's at the mercy of the doctors. And again, this is what a quote that I heard from either Sunday or Monday when he was talking, and he didn't sound terribly optimistic that he's going to be back this week. Just throwing it out there. I don't know.
All right,
we don't know. It's Monday.
Yeah, then everything's trash. But Teddy Bridgewater, 5,200 going up against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay stops the run. They obviously just gave up a ridiculous amount of yards to Jared Goff. Teddy Bridgewater isn't great, but he's 5,200. And then Kyle Allen going up against Jacksonville. It's not an easy matchup, but he's probably going to draw low ownership. But Rivers is my guy this week. I'm going to go way too heavy on him. And it's just because, like, especially if Mike Williams back, that's a really good offense. So, yeah.
I like the wheels, though, man. I like quarterbacks with wheels. I think Rivers is fine, but I like the outs that a guy like Watson or Rivers or Jackson or your boy Allen, of course, we're not expecting to play. Murray as well against Cincy. And Mangone, I mean, I don't think I understand. It's DFS. So we don't care about yesterday. We don't care about tomorrow. We care about this actual slate. And this actual slate, like, Dalton, to me, looks playable.
I mean, maybe we'll do it. I'm not that interested right now. Maybe as the week goes on, I'll get excited. Yeah. But like, listen, you know, our podcast feed sponsor Yahoo, man, like Kyler Murray over there, he's really cheap. We can get him at like $27. I think the price is like a crazy price. So like, yeah, like go shopping for Kyler Murray. Like DraftKings 6,300 is a little tougher, but I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be too difficult. Like for instance, I was messing around with lineups on FanDuel and like, you don't have to go Andy Dalton over there. Like you can go plenty of other guys. Like all the guys in this game are way too low owned. Or not way too low owned, way too cheap in this Arizona-Cincinnati game. Like I'm expecting it's got like a 48.5 total. 48 is where it's hovering around. And I'm expecting these guys to have a lot of ownership. Like I don't think you're going to have to play Andy Dalton, but I get it. He's fine. He makes some sense. I'd rather look to maybe spend up on some of these other guys. It's interesting that Atlanta-Houston game is a 49 total. And if I told you Atlanta and Houston was going on, I don't think you would project the number at 49. But that's a game where, yeah, I could see a lot of points obviously being scored. Going to be in a dome, so that's good. Don't hate obviously going Lamar Jackson at the top. Like I said, I just think this could be a week where maybe we do have the money to spend on a quarterback more.
Yeah, well, the thing is you have the money, but outside of Yahoo where you can play Mahomes, it's like what quarterback do you really want to spend up on? They're all just sort of whatever. They're fine.
Yeah, no, it's totally fair. I mean, Dak Prescott's someone to obviously consider against the Packers. You know, that game could obviously have some scoring potential. Aaron Rodgers, another one. I would obviously want Devontae Adams in there instead. But, again, another game that has a high total that you can consider. So, Yeah, it's not the prettiest week though, man. Like this is just so ugly. If you go down further, like a lot of the cheap options just like are not good plays. Like
Hey, how about Chase Daniel on DK? He's like 4.7.
yeah, against Oakland,
Wait.
you have to consider it. It's certainly in play. But man, it's rough out here.
Guys, what about Joe Flacco?
Oh no.
He's an elite quarterback, and you're talking about Chase Daniels. Who's better, Joe Flacco or Chase Daniel?
I'll take Chase Daniels.
I think I'll take Chase Daniel against Oakland.
I mean,
the matchup matters. Like we are factoring that in, correct?
the matchup matters, but Chargers, like if Hayward's out again, this Chargers team has not been great on defense.
They lost a linebacker too. I can't remember the guy's name. They lost a couple pieces.
Yeah, they're perpetually injured because they're cursed. I don't know why. But in any case, they're not that great on defense right now. They're not sacking a lot of guys. I don't think last week they had 5 sacks, but before that they only had 4 for the season, and the 5 sacks was against the great Josh Rosen. Yeah, like Flacco, you're talking about a game stack. Why not this game?
What a question, by the way. Chase Daniel versus Joe Flacco. It's not nuts, actually. Now that I think about it, you'll kind of lay it out that way. And he's got some serviceable receivers, in Sutton and Sanders. I'm not enthused.
Joe Flacco almost won me a GPP this weekend.
Wow, really? You played Joe Flacco?
I did. I paired him up with Cortland Sutton and Emmanuel Sanders. Flacco had 26 points. Sutton had 24 points. Sanders had 18 points. Suck it, Dean.
Did you also play Mohamed Sanu in that lineup?
Not in that lineup, but also suck it, Dean. Mohamed Sanu, the target leader for the Falcons this weekend, and the point leader.
I don't know if you were watching Mangone, but he was touting Mohamed Sanu on Sunday morning.
I was watching. I'm the guy who sent you the Skype message and I derailed the show to start off the day. It was amazing.
I appreciate that. I'm very easily derailed. I don't know what's left to say here as far as quarterback.
I'll just say this, listen, if you don't want to play Andy Dalton, you can go to Matt Ryan at 5,900. I don't think it's that hard to get off of Dalton if you want to, but he's in a great spot. I get it. Arizona, anyone against Arizona, you plug him in and you kind of call it a day. So, I don't know. It's just like the cheap quarterbacks are really ugly. I think I'd rather be in the mid-tier. I'd rather be paying up a quarterback this week.
Yeah, and I know you guys mentioned Dak, and I don't want to overreact to losing the left tackle, but that guy is legit. And there's actually splits that show how much it's hurt their offense when he's not in there. So again, Prescott's still playable, but with Smith being out, that does hurt their offense on the overall. Let's jump to running backs, and CMC dude plays every single snap. It's absolutely ridiculous. Not necessarily the most appealing matchup here against Jacksonville, most expensive guy. Kamara against Tampa. You'd assume Tampa's been a pass funnel. At least that's what he's shown so far through the first so many games. I thought Dalvin Cook would be a little bit cheaper. He's the 3rd most expensive guy on DK, Grant, but he's actually the most expensive on Yahoo, which Yahoo does seem to adjust as far as opponents. And I didn't like seeing that. I'm like, I'm going to roster Cook instead. I'm like, well, I'm not going to save money there. It's $40. Running backs, open it up, Grant.
We obviously got CMC up top. Dalvin Cook against Giants is very, very interesting. I don't think the Giants have that bad numbers on the season versus the running back, but they've also faced the likes of Tampa Bay and Washington, which we know exactly how good their running backs are. Not great. So up there at the top, Zeke's obviously play. Pretty much all the top price guys are in play. My favorite guy is very clearly David Johnson. Got a price uptick. Don't think people are still not going to want to play him as much as they should. 11 targets last week, 28 on the season, even though he missed half of a game. He's had some tougher matchups, and now he gets Cincinnati, who is just awful versus the run there. They're only have a 22 employed total here. They're underdogs in this game, which against Cincinnati, that should tell you something. David Johnson at 7.5 is one of my favorite plays on the entire board, and honestly, I'm not going to be surprised if he outscores CMC by a decent amount here. You're getting a $1,200 savings with him. He has the potential for a 100-yard game, apparently, in the receiving game and the rushing game. Going to play a lot of plays. Love David Johnson. Fournette, Carolina's not an easy matchup, but he is getting a ton of equity. He is only 6,400 for a guy that just had 200-plus yards. Freeman's not a bad play. Thompson, going up against New England, they're going to be from behind. Can we safely say that they're going to be behind?
I mean, the presumption is, yeah.
Yeah, so that means Chris Thompson's going to be in the game a heck of a lot more than AP. Really like him. And then one of my favorite guys on the board is Philip Lindsay. Again, this week. Didn't do too much last week, but he's a guy that's been involved in the receiving game. Like, just the fact they had a rough matchup versus the Jags doesn't really mean too much to me. Like, it can happen at any given time to any player, and he's still the bell cow in that offense. Yes, Freeman is getting a decent amount of work in that offense. Like, I think he actually had close to the same amount of carries as Lindsay last week. I think he was more involved in the receiving game. But this game is probably going to be moderately close. Currently, they're 6.5-point dogs. I think that's actually a little bit high, surprisingly enough, even though Denver's terrible. But, yeah, 4,900 for a guy that could potentially get you 25 points on a slate that is just absolute and complete and total trash.
You like him more than James White?
I think I do. Like,
yeah.
Is White going to be that involved when they're up by 20 points?
I don't know, but like White could score 2 touchdowns, receiving also. So like, how do they get above 20 points? I suppose.
Yeah, Lindsay can score 2 touchdowns receiving.
Yeah, of course.
They've got they're within 2 targets of each other so far this year. Fun fact for you.
I mean, I don't know if that's fun, but I guess it's a fact. I'm not going to fact check you or anything, but I suppose that's correct. By the way, speaking of prisoner of the moment, you're just kind of like using like the confirmation bias, whatever you want to talk about as far as running backs against Cincinnati. This game we're watching right now, last couple minutes are winding down. We see the combination of Samuels and Connor have 16 total receptions. Just throwing that out there. You talk about David Johnson. That could be pretty interesting, I suppose. And he's a guy who can absolutely catch 10 passes and absolutely crush PPRs.
Dean, they're not like really receptions. It's like Samuel is just doing that like dump off thing.
I think one was Samuel's to Connor.
Yeah, they're not like really receptions.
Well, because they're running the Wildcat to some degree. But
but they're not real receptions. I just want to make sure that's clear. Like it's not like you're going to
10 of them are real. I don't know fair enough.
You don't know, but I'm just saying, like, you listen. You're not you don't watch all the Island games like I do.
I had the game on in the background. I do see the box score. The game's on in the background. I had the TV on mute. Not because I hate Booger. Everybody hates Booger, by the way. I don't know. I don't really listen to the games because I was listening to a podcast. So, and I looked up occasionally. I'd see a lot of dump offs, but I probably missed a couple goofy Wildcat receptions. So that's fair to point out. Mangone, to start from the top as far as your favorite running backs.
Yeah, so Dalvin Cook obviously is a phenomenal option. Anyone against the Giants will crush them. So unless you're the Washington Redskins, apparently. So Dalvin Cook is someone I would definitely be looking at here in this spot. I don't know what I'm doing with McCaffrey. I mean, he is just such a high usage guy. I mean, usage and volume is just so important, and I think Leonard Fournette has shown that. So yeah, I think McCaffrey certainly in play, but Dalvin Cook is one guy that I really like at the top. I love what Grant said about David Johnson, but like the key with David Johnson is like just go play over on FanDuel where he's still 6,800 against this Bengals team. Like the price tag is just absolutely stupid on David Johnson over there. So I'll be keying in on him a lot. I think he's an amazing option. I don't know what to do with the whole Melvin Gordon-Eckler situation. This is not a decision for our podcast to make. I think this
is he still 4-5 on FanDuel or no?
No, they raised him up.
Okay.
They raised him up, but hey, they put Golden Tate at 4-5. So FanDuel still found a way to be incompetent. So there you go. Good thing they're not our sponsor. But anyways, I want to mention some cheap guys that I think are pretty interesting. Joe Mixon, he has an interesting price on Yahoo. I think it was $18. That price isn't bad. Also not a bad price at 6.1K, but not my favorite. He's getting the Arizona price bump over there. But there are some cheap guys to look at here, like Josh Jacobs. In his first 3 games, he only had a total of it was either 2 or 3 receptions. And then in the last game, a game that they were leading for most of the game, he got 2 receptions. And John Gruden talked about last week how they wanted to get him get him the ball more in space and get him more pass catching opportunities. And he got 2 last week in a game that they were leading. So I think Josh Jacobs is someone that you can consider at a 4.5K price tag. It's just the defensive matchup, right? The Bears, that's a really, really tough spot. But again, like the Raiders don't have many options to go to. So they are going to try and feature him technically. It doesn't matter. Every game they are going to try and give him a huge workload. Another guy on the opposite side who I like probably even more is David Montgomery. I think he can get a ton of workload here against the Raiders, where I expect him to have a positive game script. So he's definitely an interesting option. And another guy in that same price range is Devontae Freeman. You have him against the Houston Texans in a very high total game. And Freeman is a guy that, we've expected more from him, and he's been more efficient as the season has gone on. And, the Falcons just haven't been leading that much. And if they are leading against the Texans, I do expect him to get more of a workload, and I expect he could have a game where he pops off at this price tag. So those are some guys that are in the cheaper range and more the mid-range. And I think at the top, like, it's a week where you can jam in a lot of these guys. You're mainly doing it for the value, right? Like just the opportunity that they get. Guys like Cook, McCaffrey, Kamara, who sees a huge target share. Even Zeke, I know he hasn't been seeing it, but this could be the game where he gets it. And I think the Tyron Smith thing is a very valuable thing to watch.
A couple of questions here. What about your team, the Packers situation? If Williams isn't back, how do we feel about Jones?
Yeah, I mean, Jones is obviously a play that you can consider. I'm assuming Jamal Williams doesn't play because of the injury he had. I know he said he's a lot better, but I had a neck injury, right? Like, there's no way.
Concussion.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to be in there. I think Jones is fine, but I don't know. It's not a guy I'm like going crazy about, but I probably should reevaluate that a little more. Because again, it's like in a high total game. Jones has been really, really good, and that price tag is nice at 5.9K.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a different price when you described it like that.
No, 5.9 is still good. I mean, with no Jamal Williams, if he's getting the full workload, that's still a pretty nice price tag. He should probably have like a 6.5K price.
No, you used the nice adjective, but never. We'll move on.
I see what you did there.
It threw me off. I apologize. Mangone, Cook is more expensive, the most expensive running back on Yahoo. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine if you want to pay the price tag for it. Like, it's the Giants, right?
I'm not
like
paying $40 for that.
I mean, if you have the money, it just depends if you have the money to make it work. I typically don't spend up that much on running backs over there, and I typically just take advantage of like the cheaper guys. Like, I don't know, like call me crazy, but Joe Mixon at $18 is pretty enticing. It's starting to get cheap, and
yeah,
I don't know. It's sometimes I normally have one spend up option. If you force me to pick, like, I don't know, like even David Johnson at $30 might feel like a little bit of a value. It is a price hike from what it's been, but I don't know. Dalvin Cook, it just depends on how my construction fits, right? Like, I'm fine. If I can get Dalvin Cook, McCaffrey, Elliott, Kamara, or David Johnson, I'm really happy, but I'm not going to, like, go out of my way to pick one or over the other.
Grant Gallman, 5.4K on DK, $13 on Yahoo against Minnesota.
Yeah, play him on Yahoo. I don't think you need to go with him on DK. Play Philip Lindsay instead.
That's kind of my initial assessment as well, too. And he didn't have nearly as many snaps as you might think, like based upon the box score. I was looking at it earlier. Geez, I wrote it down someplace.
Well, they got to save their bell cow, right?
He was on the field for 48 of 77 snaps, which is like not terrible. If that's not Mangone, that's not. I mean, it's not CMC, but who's CMC? What's your take here as far as Gallman?
Yeah, I don't know. Don't love the matchup completely. Gallman's fine. I don't know. I'm not too high on him right now, but I could see over throughout the week, like maybe I get more excited about like the targets is really nice at 7 targets. And I saw Shermer was kind of talking up last week how he was going to be way more involved in the passing game than people thought. So that's why I was definitely on Gallman pretty heavy. Not the only reason, obviously, the opportunity in the matchup.
Oh, look at Mangone taking the victory lap.
No, it's just like I'm not taking a victory. I'm just saying like it helped me like, get reassurance about the situation more. And just,
he thinks he called Mohamed Sanu or something over there.
No, I'm not claiming that. Listen, maybe at least I didn't plant my flag on Adam Humphries last week. Let's just say that.
So Mangone, this guy or that guy, basically the same price on DK. Gallman's 5.4, Freeman's 5.3.
I'm gonna lean with Freeman. I think it's tough though, but I just like Freeman's opportunity. And like I'm pretty bullish on him, and I think he's gonna pop here at some point soon. I think that he's kind of got more of the short end of the stick with some bad game scripts and just things haven't gone his way as much. So I'm higher on Freeman than most.
You got anything else to say as far as running backs, Mangone?
Nope, I'm down to move on to receiver.
Grant, open it up.
All right, up top we got Hopkins and Julio. Hopkins had a tough stretch of things, and now he goes against Atlanta, who did not do too great versus the Titans last week, was it? Yeah, it was Atlanta Titans. Yeah, and obviously Davis and everyone else went crazy. Hopkins is still quite possibly the best wide receiver in the league. We got both Hopkins and Julio in that game. Both great options if you want to pay up. Keenan Allen, we don't buy into too much of his target share last weekend. It's not going to continue. You can go with the Tampa Bay guys. I'm probably avoiding that. Actually, I'm for sure avoiding that. Then I have to go a ways before I actually like anyone else. I mean, Josh Gordon versus Washington is fine, but the game script worries me a little bit. Valdez Scantling, if Adams is out, is a decent play. But, I'm all the way down with, John Brown, 11 targets last week. Even without Josh Allen in there, I think John Brown could still do some stuff. Sanders, if Hayward is out, is a fantastic play. If not, Sutton's a fantastic play. If Kirk plays for Arizona, Cincinnati's bad pretty much everywhere. So Kirk is very much in play. then you got guys like Dorsett, which you have to worry about game script, and then you got guys like Beasley, who right along with John Brown, he still got 13% or targets last week. Guy I'm really looking at is Will Fuller going up against Atlanta. The guy is still very talented. He's 4,500. He's getting targets. He had 6 last week. He's got 23 on the season. We know that he has big playability. We know that he can go off for a massive touchdown at any given time. And then Dean's favorite player, Mohamed Sanu, 12 targets last week, 31 on the season, Dean. Just in case you were unaware, if you want a reference to how much that actually is, it's more than Josh Gordon has. It's 2 away from what Chris Godwin has on the season. It's more than Amari Cooper.
Well, not all targets are created equal.
Yeah, Howard. Yeah,
Sanu's targets are created poorly.
Well, you're created poorly.
Well, I'm not available on the slate. If I was, that would be minimum salary.
I think it would be Yahoo pricing, where they price Miami's defense down to $5 where the minimum's 10.
I'm like $3 at tight end.
No, I want Kiki Hernandez pricing on Dean if I'm playing him.
That's an old school reference. I wonder if the people in the chat get that one. But in chat, well, there's no chat. Is there a chat that I'm not aware of? I'm talking about the comment section, of course.
I'm live streaming this on Periscope.
I wasn't aware. Hello, Periscope, and our 4 viewers.
Listen. If you got the reference and you're still listening, just put a 7 in the comment section for us. You know.
Oh boy, there you go. They don't probably know that reference either. Hey, man. So did you besmirch, Grant, just to go back for it, did you besmirch Keenan Allen? I couldn't tell if you're saying yes or no on Keenan Allen.
I mean, I wasn't saying yes. I wasn't saying no. I prefer Hopkins and Julio. I definitely prefer Allen to either Evans or Godwin or Cooper. Pretty much everyone within 1,000 of him that aren't named Julio or Hopkins. It's just I think that like Hopkins' target share could be huge in this matchup against Atlanta, and Julio is still Julio. Like I might prefer Keenan to Julio, and I might buy low on him after his last week outing. People might be a little bit worried, considering he still is the target leader. You know who's second in targets so far this season?
We need total targets?
Yeah.
Michael Thomas.
Cooper Kupp. Thomas is third, I think. Yeah, just I'd say that.
Not on the slate, but on
I think Robert Woods is actually third. So he's also on the slate.
The reason why Cooper Kupp is so high in targets is I found a quote. Jared Goff says they have a telepathic connection. So that's the narrative, man. The telepathic connection narrative between the two. They used to. I did so much research on this. They used to be roommates when they first came on the team. And then I found a video of them doing the best friends challenge, and they're both giving a fist bump. So you can confirm, right? Like they're best friends, man. So best friend narrative, telepathic connection narrative. It's all there.
That was a little foreshadowing, by the way, for our question later. You mentioned roommates, correct?
It's very true.
Well played. By the way, as far as target shares, Keenan Allen's still a top guy in the league, 33%. Inman got dinged last game. Not sure if he's going to play. Williams, questionable. Who he knows what's going down there. But I wouldn't have any recency bias against Allen. I think he's still awesome. Still a great play. He should be up there along with the big boys. He's a little bit too cheap as far as I can tell. Fun game stack, though, Grant, right? Like just running those 2 top dog receivers at each other. Jones and Hopkins, I'm for sure in on that. And I think I'm not the first guy to think it. If I'm thinking of that, it's like everybody realizes that, that could be fun in the dome. The highest total with the 2 best receivers in the league, debatably. Yeah, let's make both those guys. Let's make that work for sure. Is there anybody in the mid-tier that's jumping out for you, Mangone?
Yeah, sorry, I just got distracted. Booger McFarland's on my screen, and I was like so lost. I was like, wait, for a second, like Scott Van Pelt is a smart dude, and he has to do an interview with Booger McFarland every week. I just feel really bad.
Why does everybody trash this guy? I don't know anything about.
He's terrible, dude. He's
still playing for the Colts or something, I think. But
Bucks and Colts, but yeah, sorry, man. This isn't the first time Booger McFarland.
Dean, you know more about sideline reporting than him.
I've never done it before. I know about as much as that one guy who, remember he was like a Monday Night Football and he it was bad.
Are you talking about Booger McFarland?
No. There was this other guy. It was like 2 Sunday Night Footballs or 2 Monday Night Footballs to open the week. It's a clip. I'm sure that people know what I'm talking about. But he just kind of got lost in his thoughts and started talking about coaching. Maybe Mike Tomlin or something.
Having the time
like
of their lives.
Yeah, I think that's what it is actually. And I think well, go ahead.
Anyways, let me go back to the top because I think the top is really juicy this week. There's a lot to like. Hopkins is obviously a phenomenal option here. Julio Jones, I think, might be the best option. It's between him and Keenan Allen. The one thing I'll say is, listen, the whole narrative on Keenan Allen is totally different if that 70-yard touchdown doesn't get called back on him. So, that totally changes things. One thing I want to mention, sure, Chris Godwin, I love him. I'm a huge fan of him. But Mike Evans is a really interesting play. If you look, he's like one of those candidates for the air yards, has a ton of air yards and not a lot of receiving yards compared to, what his air yards is in receiving yards. So I'm sure he's one of those guys that's in that buy low air yards model that you see floating around on Twitter that people talk
581, Mangone, not to cut you off, but I actually pulled it up in front of me. He's got the most as of right now. I believe this is updated through 4 weeks. Second, Keenan Allen. Grant, who's third?
For what?
Air yards, try and keep up.
Will Fuller.
No, he's like ninth or so. Hollywood Brown is third. There you go. All the guys that let everybody down, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've heard this is Will Fuller week like 4 different times, but this is really the week, right, Mangone?
Yeah, listen. I'm still investing in him, so we'll see how it goes this week for me. But it has been a little bit frustrating with Will Fuller for my tournament teams and my best ball shares. There you go. I haven't done that one in a while, but I have a lot of him. So, anyways, let's go back to the top end receivers and If you think the run game could struggle with Dallas, Amari Cooper could be intriguing that you can look at, but not one of my favorites. I'd rather Michael Thomas at 6.6K price tag. I think that's a really nice price on him. And Teddy Bridgewater, sure, he's not a guy that airs it out a ton, but he's definitely been leaning on Michael Thomas, right, and leaning on him on those short routes. And you could see him just eat in a PPR format at 6.6K. That's definitely a really, really nice price tag. So you have to consider him. With Christian Kirk a little banged up, Larry Fitzgerald at 6K is definitely an enticing guy here. If you call that the mid-range, you can call that a really good option. But those Packers receivers, right? You got Scantling at 5.6K. Obviously, you have to see what's going to happen with, Devontae Adams. I have a reliable source here, Grant, though, that says that Adams is already out. So there you go.
Who's your source? You have, how many witnesses do you have for your source?
It's Grant Neiffer. That's my source. So I don't know. I said Grant's my reliable source. So I don't know what his I don't know who he's got or the guy he knows,
Grant?
But
I know, okay.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. But odds in play, Calvin Ridley, he's definitely an option there in that Houston game at 4.9K. A little bit of squeaky wheel narrative with him. They were talking about how they want to get him more involved in the offense after the Indy week, and then he, was back up to 6 targets. So, I could obviously see them, making sure he's involved in the offense. But there is that guy, Mohamed Sanu, who's an absolute beast, right, Dean? How could you ignore him in this game?
Wow. I mean, seriously, he has not been fantasy relevant since Crane won him with the Million Maker, despite the fact he had Mohamed Sanu. But, good, no ceiling. What was the last ceiling game for Mohamed Sanu? I don't
Week 6 of last year, 25 points.
Sounds like you made that up.
Yeah, sure. Probably did.
This is the same source that confirms that Cobb is out. not Cobb, Adams.
Honestly, I might have dreamt it.
One more guy I want to mention here is John Ross, right? Basically anyone that's Cincy, Arizona.
Might not play.
Why won't John Ross play?
He got injured.
Did he really? When did he get injured? I saw Boyd got hurt a little bit. When did John Ross get injured?
At the end of the game, I think.
All right, well,
I might also be making things up. Also, Dean, last 2 weeks of last season, 20 and 22 points for Sanu. So, suck it.
Did he have a passing touchdown or something? How did that happen?
No, one of which he didn't even have a touchdown.
Okay, good for him.
We talked about Will Fuller, 4.5K is interesting, but another guy in that range is Golden Tate. 4.6 is not bad, but
about Tate.
4.5 is the one you want to see on FanDuel. It's just a free square. It's not Kiki Hernandez, it's not Dean Shavelson, but 4.5K for Golden Tate is pretty good.
Fuller is $14 on Yahoo.
Yep, it's a nice price tag there, and you can't complain for him there in that matchup, right? In that dome, lots of receptions, opportunity. You want him in a fast track. Things are lining up for the Will Fuller week, but it's been lining up every single week, and it keeps disappointing.
Yeah. Speaking of nice, by the way, you rounded up. That was a Keenan Allen 69-yard touchdown that was taken back. You said 70, but close enough. Basically the same sort of principle.
Which is I didn't know if this podcast was R-rated or not, so I just wanted to.
It's just numbers.
I was just speaking facts. I don't know. There's no rating in that.
Yeah. Did you know that Alvin Kamara has 69 yards rushing each of the last 2 weeks?
Did not know that.
No, those are the facts. Those are the facts we've been looking for here on the Absolutely Epic Early podcast.
Grant, you got anything else as far as receivers? You want to jump to some tight ends? And again, tight end pool is gross. If you're playing on Yahoo, of course, you can play Kelsey. Still waiting for a really monster game out of him. He's $32, pretty pricey. But otherwise, the tight ends this week are just sort of I don't know. They're there. We need some touchdown equity in the favor of Hurts. You know, he's yet to get in the box. Variance is what I was looking for, not equity necessarily against the Jets. Ingram at the top. Waller's been great, obviously. Andrews, I just hate that split. You know, him and Hutter, Hurst, Helmsley, and there's another dude that three different tight ends there for Baltimore. It's too many guys for me.
Dean, how much would you pay for all three guys in one? What would the price tag be?
Yeah, why can't I just get Baltimore tight end? I would love that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, how much would they cost? Would they be more expensive than Travis Kelce right now?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Just ask it. Just curious. I thought it was a fun idea.
Give me them all. I'll stack them with L. Jackson when I win every single tournament. What do you have, Grant, as far as tight ends?
I mean, there's the top, really 6 guys: Ertz, Ingram, Waller, Andrews, Hooper, Graham. And Graham might actually be my favorite of all of them, especially if Adams does end up missing here. He could get a potential boost. He didn't do too well in the first few weeks, but had a bit of a breakout game this last weekend, although it was not on the main slate, so no, people probably don't realize it. But previous 2 weeks before that, did he even play? I can't remember. Was he ruled out those games?
You talking about Jimmy Graham?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I think Jimmy Graham has been fine. I just know there's been a whole squeaky wheel on him. Like Rodgers, I want to get him more involved.
He's got a squeaky knee. He's got a squeaky elbow. He's got squeaky everything. Jimmy Graham.
Rodgers did talk about before the Philly game. He wanted to get Jimmy Graham more involved, and he wanted to get Devontae Adams more involved in the offense, and they definitely got involved.
Yeah, nine targets for Graham last week. Again, without Adams there, his target share probably goes up. It's not the greatest matchup in the world, but tight end's trash this week, and everyone's going to pay up. And in between Graham and the next guy I'm looking at 3,300, there's really nothing that sticks out. And the guy at 3,300 is Eifert, just because he's going against Arizona.
Playing the role of Will Dissly, Tyler Eifert. Yeah, I don't know what to do. There's no Dissly this week. So, and by the way, for the record, I got off Dissly, and I'm very mad at myself for doing that. For the most part, I got away from him because I had the money to do so. And, well, what are you going to do?
I got Hawkinson instead, so it worked out fine for me.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, good for you, Grant.
I just want to rub things in your face like Mohamed Sanu.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to do here, Mangone, as far as tight end. It's pretty meh. I'm not enthused.
Yeah, I get it. It's not a pretty position. You mentioned Tyler Eifert, right? The new thing is now we're plugging tight ends against the Cardinals that we're going to talk about on Twitter all week long, especially after what Dissly did. But, yeah, he's 4.5 or 4.6 Eifert on FanDuel, so he's just a really easy plug and play, it feels like, because the tight end position is ugly over there. One guy that you can play if you want to just play the pricing game, Austin Hooper is the most expensive tight end on FanDuel at 6.7K, and you can play Austin Hooper at 4.5K over there on DraftKings, and that's a solid spot, I think. So, Dean, are you down to meet the Hoopers and play Austin Hooper this week?
I want to hang with Mr. Hooper, if nothing else. That was a nice basketball reference, but well done.
The All-Star family, man.
I was going to do the Hoopers got tickets, but I forgot that was the Andersons. The Andersons got tickets? Anybody?
Yeah, save that for a baseball pod for Chase Anderson.
It's a basketball reference.
I know it is. I know. I remember the commercial that played on NBA League Pass all the time.
Guy was so angry the Andersons got tickets. That's a really good price on Hooper, and I hate that I don't know if it's on a chase. He's been great, and coming into the season, I was wrong on him. I did not think he would be the guy he's been so far. He's just been awesome. Shopping around, by the way, I was kind of jumping at Yahoo as well, and Eifert for 15 is not terribly, whatever. That's not nearly as appealing to me. Hooper is just he's 19, which is pretty reasonable as well. I think on DK though, Grant, I think he's right. I think Hooper's probably the play. You get access to the highest total on the board. You get the dome. He's been, great as far as a target perspective. The price has not seemed to fully adjusted. I think Mangone's right, Grant. I think Hooper's the best, dollar for dollar play right now.
Yeah, you might be right.
We're both begrudgingly conceding that.
It's all the supermarket sweep I've watched over the years, helping me shop between sites.
Next time you're in the supermarket and you hear that beep,
Dean,
Mangone, that was your cue, man.
Oh yeah, think about all the fun you can have on supermarket.
I was also waiting, guys. We didn't mention any of this on the podcast. This was a different conversation, so none of the viewers get any of this.
It's true, but I was waiting for you to do the beat, man.
We had a whole supermarket speak conversation. This is the things we talk about. It's not. We don't want to give all the good stuff away. We held that back.
Also, when Grant cut us off, I was ready for him to say, "Guys, I forgot to record the podcast. We have to start over."
That would make me chuckle.
Or we're gonna get cut off by somebody else, which happened on a previous podcast. So maybe it'll happen. Who knows? Hopefully, it doesn't happen tonight. Grant, what's left to be said here as far as our initial thoughts as far as tight ends? It's just, there's guys you can play that are fine. Andrews, he's good. He's pretty reasonable at 4.8. Again, kind of annoying. He doesn't play every single play, but he gets out there enough. He's cheap enough.
He still has 32 targets on the year. Like we have 5 guys on the slate with over 30 targets on the year, and they're the top 5 price guys, and they're the top plays at tight end.
How about Yahoo at $32, Mangone, for Kelsey?
Yeah, it's a hefty price tag, but if I got the money to spend, I'm definitely going to consider it. Let me see if there's like some cheaper options, because I don't know, man. Like, I'm kind of sick of paying for Travis Kelce. Maybe it's recency bias, but Mahomes is really spreading the ball out a lot, and it's kind of been frustrating. And like, if this dude's going to always be up and just throwing no-look passes for the fun of it,
perfect spot for Kelce.
No, it is. I know it's Indy. I'm going to pay for him, but I'm trying to just see if there's for instance, if he had
also like Jimmy Graham for $13.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Honestly, that's not a terrible play.
No, I mean it's not.
He's like Mohamed Sanu, Dean, if you didn't know.
Eifert's $15 on Yahoo. They priced him over Jimmy Graham there. So, but yeah, I mean, I wish they didn't make Kelce 32. I wish he was like 28, 27 back where he was, but I'll probably make it work and try and get up to Kelce because, I mean, it's a great matchup.
Ebron's 14. He didn't play a lot of snaps. I thought he would play more snaps last week with Hilton being out.
No, but you have to deal with O'Doyle rules and everything, and that's not a fun scenario to deal with.
He got there on like the last play of the game, basically. He had like a 50-yard touchdown or something like that. But yeah, I thought Ebron was a good play last week because I expected him to get some extra run, and I think he had like 20 to 25 snaps, something like that. It wasn't a lot. Anything else here, Grant, as far as this thoughts, as far as tight ends, or shall we talk about maybe a game stack or two? Where maybe we can get to our nonsense. We got about 10 minutes left.
I'm just excited for your tweet.
I'm not. I want to keep talking about this. Can we talk about Noah Fant and Jared Cook and I don't know, CJ Uzomah?
No.
Anybody but talking about?
No, my favorite game stack is the Chargers game stack. Flacco's going to go off here, Dean. But be on the lookout for Casey Hayward if he's in there. That changes things. Yeah. But that's my game stack. I love Rivers. I like Flacco's price quite a bit. I love if Hayward's out, I love Emmanuel Sanders. I love Sutton regardless. Keenan Allen's great. If Mike Williams plays, he's a fantastic play. People aren't going to know what to do with running backs, and so you can throw in them. Phillip Lindsay's a great play. Melvin Gordon's a great play. I love that game stack.
You got a game stack. Can you see that one and raise it there, Mangone?
I think Arizona Cincinnati's like the best one, but if I don't go that one, I really like the Houston and Falcons game. I think that's one that I'm definitely going to be looking at a ton, and I love the idea of obviously
pick the easy one, Trav.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I think
which one has the highest total? Okay, that one.
Yeah, but so a contrarian build is playing Julio Jones. Okay, play Julio. This is the thing.
Yeah, that's real contrarian. He's never high owned.
Nobody's gonna. Who's this Julio Jones you speak of? I'm listening.
Okay, so real quick, everyone's cutting me off, so let me finish my statement. So one of the guys on the sharp side, his name's Eric. He won like $200,000. He played the high total game, right? The Rams-Bucks game. He played people in that game.
Oh, you mean the one where Godwin was under 1% owned? Trav?
Yes,
shut up.
Of course it's under. But could Will Fuller be really low owned? Yeah, he'd be really low owned.
The contrarian play in that game is to play Sanu, Ridley.
Yeah, so play Sanu. Just play. So
both you guys are on Team Sanu now. What happened?
So
Dean, you're 0-for-1 on your Sanu calls.
Guys, let me finish my statement on everything. My goodness. You can find receivers that are low owned in that game. You can run it back with a Matt Ryan and Deshaun Watson. Like, it's a contrarian build going DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, and a low owned receiver there. Like, it's perfectly fine. It's going to be a completely different route, and you'll be great. Like, it'll work out.
Are you saying it's contrarian to play two wide receivers in one lineup? People don't do that?
I'm
Well, you
saying
said two
three.
quarterbacks also. I don't know how he's going to play two quarterbacks. That's contrarian for
Guys,
sure.
you're not-
Fantasy Ace is back.
Guys, I'm not saying you're playing two quarterbacks. You pick your quarterback. You pick 2 Houston receivers or 2 Falcon receivers. You run it back, and then you play a quarterback. It's very simple. It's very
That's
easy.
not contrarian
There's
at all.
nothing
though.
contrarian about this, though.
Yeah,
It's
that's
go-
literally the main way people build stacks.
It's
is
going to
2
be
wide receivers and run it back with 1.
The Houston and Falcons will still be contrarian. You'll still be okay. You can find a way to make it contrarian.
In
Dean,
no
you
way are
cannot-
they going to be contrarian.
Kiki Cutie?
You can find a way to make it
Kenny
contrarian.
Stills. Kenny Stills is the answer.
Dean, you're the one who should be on my side on this one. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm just having fun, man. I'm just stirring the pots.
Let's have fun and talk about your tweet. How
Oh,
about
boy. Well, it depends on who's having the fun, but go ahead. Fire away.
All right. So
Is this
Dean's-
it for analysis or on the nonsense?
Yeah, we're on to nonsense. We've
All right.
taken up enough time.
And you can win a shirt. Stick around. We'll give you guys a topic in a second, but go ahead. What's
Yeah.
my tweet?
So your losing tweet is, I just had a snickerdoodle for the first time in 10 years, and holy fudge, I didn't say fudge, but you can if you want. Genie for 07 was right. Been through 12 of them today, and I'd give up my Pornhub premium before I go another day without one.
I love when I saw the tweet, I said, that's the one. I was so excited.
Well, do I have an alternative tweet? Or is
You don't
that-
want to hear the alternatives. They're much worse.
That's the nicer one?
That's the nicest one.
What's the meanest one, just for fun? I'm curious what the meanest one was.
I had trouble getting it up for myself today. Just really wasn't into it. It was like a taffy pull on a hot summer's day.
What if I wanted that one? Oh, no. I'm not looking forward to Tuesday.
I'm looking
Oh.
forward to Tuesday. I will be bothering you if I don't see it tweeted by about noon or 1. I'll be asking.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. All
I
right.
may have made myself cry a little bit just reading the tweet.
I'm not enjoying. I'm not. This is not fun. I'm not. Who signed up for this? Just as
I've
long
been
as
fairly nice to you over the last year and a half. This one
yeah.
isn't even that mean.
You ramped it up a little bit, but
Are you more angry about the Pornhub Premium or the Snickerdoodle thing?
Well, they're both tilting. First, what sucker gets premium? Like, serious, that's insulting. This isn't grotesque enough. I need premium. I need something a little bit more vile. I don't. All right. Well, I guess, yeah. Begrudgingly, okay. Well, what's left to say? I'm not happy. But in life we make choices, and there are consequences with choices. And my choice was Adam Humphries. These are my consequences. So, all right, here we go.
Yeah. What are we doing this week? What position are we going with?
Oh, I mean, you don't want Mohamed Sanu? You're not just flat out claim Mohamed Sanu's your guy?
I don't think so. I could go with Adam Humphries.
Oh, boy.
Oh, he's not on the main slate. Shoot.
Oh, he is.
Oh, he is on the main
He's-
slate.
Yeah.
I'll still give you Adam Humphries even if he's not on the main slate. You can take him. You can take him every week.
Well, I mean, yeah, he can take wherever he wants. You don't have to give him permission, but yeah.
We can go mid-price wide receivers.
Min-price wide receivers?
Mid.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you have in mind?
I'll go Sutton. Sorry, said I like that stack. I mean, I want to go with Mike Williams, but I'm not sure if he's going to play.
You could say Mike Williams if you want to lock him in, and then, well, you can. I mean, I like Fuller at 4-5, but that seems like a scary proposition for like a 3-man contest.
Yeah,
I mean, he beat
I
Adam
did
Humphries
Fuller.
last week.
Yeah, I did Fuller last week. I'm kind of considering going back to the well.
You know, I don't mind in that area as like a safe 3-man play. Not Humphries, but the other side, Beasley. I think Beasley could be all right.
Oh, it says the guy that was insulting Beasley to me all year long.
This is a different game strategy.
Calvin Ridley's not bad too. I might be.
Oh,
interested
really?
in Calvin
Really at 4.9? Oh,
Yeah.
That's too
I'm
cheap.
taking Ridley. I think that's mine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with Sutton.
How much is Sutton?
4.9 also.
Oh, I like that too. Unbelievable.
You can go with 4.9 with Philip Dorsett. We can get rid of the math portion of it with point per dollar.
You know, he had the most air yards in that team last week. I think he had like 100 or so for the Patriots, for what it's worth. But
Yeah, when he gets a matchup versus Washington, honestly, it wouldn't be a bad play.
Dean, you can also take
You're not.
Geronimo. Allison.
we just said no bullying, and Grant's trying to bully me. into taking
That wasn't
both
bull.
versus-
I said you could.
It was
and then-
suggestive.
Yes, it's suggesting things bullying.
Well, I mean, I can read too. I see the Dorsett's name.
Okay,
already.
me saying you can't read would be bullying.
Dean, you ignored my really bad joke there. I don't know if you caught it.
I heard it.
Oh, I knew you ignored me.
Just sort of like it definitely happened.
I mean, you want Golden Tate? There you go. I mean, Golden Tate.
Golden Tate's not a bad play.
That's too much of a wild card for me. Oh man.
And Adam Humphries wasn't.
Well, I was just kind of screwing around. I was getting cocky.
He doesn't win for
Christian
1 week.
Kirk, maybe. I mean,
maybe Sanders at 5-1 is okay. I don't like any of.
I mean,
this.
it could give the viewers reason to watch the Denver game. You know.
You just said Fuller. Go with Fuller.
MVS can be all right, especially if what's his name sits. Ross, but like you said, he was hurt, or somebody say he was hurt. Brown, I don't mind, but he's kind of boom busty. Well, not necessarily. Let's see. I mean, I wish he had Allen. Obviously, he'd probably be more expensive. I feel like I'm burning time here. I apologize.
You could take number one receiver Tyrell the Gazelle Williams.
I mean, I guess I could.
I'm just trying to give you a bad play, you know.
I could take a lot of guys. I could take anybody in theory. I might take Fuller just because. But he's like not done anything. Like, but his like if he's got to be.
Dean, we don't care about the past. This is daily fantasy sports. All we care about is this week.
Oh, so is this week? Is he going to do something or what?
Yeah, I love him this week
Why didn't you take him?
because I love Sutton more, and I was trying to stick with my game stack stuff.
Oh, well, there's no game stacks in this game.
In Denver?
Well, in our 3-man.
Well, I already said that I love Sutton.
Like Mangone's game stack, and he's playing 2 quarterbacks in some lineup. I'm not sure where
You
he's playing
guys,
that.
this is not what I said.
Dean, just hurry up and pick. We've been doing this for like 12 minutes now.
I know, but I'm not prepared for this. I didn't realize this was going to happen in this podcast this week.
Dean, it literally happens every week.
You can take
None of us prepare for
Robbie
this
Anderson
way.
against the Eagles defense.
Yeah.
The secondary's awful.
John Ross
Really?
versus Arizona.
Well, we don't know if he's healthy. Oh, can I pick Ross? And then if he's not playing, I can pick somebody else?
Yeah, I don't trust you. You're a cheater.
What do you mean that you don't trust me? Like, what?
You have to
Why do you guys-
have your backup right now in case Ross doesn't play.
Why do you guys think John Ross is? I'm about to look. Like,
He left the game with an injury.
I don't think he did.
I don't. Why would Grant say that? He wouldn't just make it up. I
I
mean,
mean, Tyler Boyd. Are you sure you didn't see Tyler Boyd? Because I saw Tyler Boyd get hurt, but then he came back in.
I mean,
I'm going to take.
that could be true.
All right, let's
Any
take
injury update on John Ross? Yes, he got injured. John Ross headed to the locker room.
Okay.
You know what? Just because it's Grant's boy, I'm going with Cole Beasley.
Atta kid.
That didn't go well last time, so yeah, it probably won't go well again. Dude.
Wait. Except for I've won with Beasley on these before, I think.
Well, I'm talking about how Dean last week went with Grant's boy Adam Humphries, and hasn't learned his lesson.
Recency bias.
See,
Hasn't
there's
learned
a
his
difference.
lesson.
I actually agree with him here.
Beasley actually isn't a bad play. It's better than the Adam Humphries one. The Adam Humphries one I will not back.
When was the last time Beasley didn't make value this year?
Well, value is a
Listen,
relative term.
I'm not hating on Cole Beasley this season. I think he's been solid, but I'm just saying, I think there's better options. That's all.
When was the last time Beasley had under 10 points?
Probably this year.
I don't think so.
Week 1 versus the Jets.
Yeah, he had 9.
Did he?
Yeah.
Man. So 3 straight weeks with over 10 points.
There you go. Lock him in. He's going to catch all those PPR, like 5-yard. He did, the A dots. He lives that A dot life there.
I mean, the quarterback might not be Josh Allen.
Oh, it doesn't matter. He still got a ton of targets.
That might be a good thing.
I don't know. I mean, Josh Allen's been
Honestly,
keying in on
like
him.
for Beasley's target share, it could be a good thing because Allen loves to throw the ball deep. So having Beasley as a safety net for what's his name is going to be great.
I don't even know who what's his name is.
Barkley?
Oh, Matt Barkley. Ugh.
It was Barkley. Remember when he was supposed to be the number 1 guy?
Out of USC, yeah. Hey, we have one more thing to do, right? We got to knock out our question of the week for people to answer in the chat. Why do I keep saying in the chat? In the comment section on RotoGrinders.com when you click on the Absolutely Epic podcast. Grant, what is the question this week?
So the question is worst roommate story. And I have quite a few. I had a real weird roommate my freshman year in college. Which one do I go with, Dean?
Lead with your strongest one. What do you have?
Well, he may have allegedly he told on some people for drinking. And allegedly they came in at 3:00 in the morning tried to shave his eyebrow and floured him and then poured a gallon of water on him. And I pretended to sleep through the entire thing while I was laughing. Allegedly.
The stats limitations are up, though. You probably don't have to keep saying allegedly. Is this a Gomer Pyle situation? Is that what's like the soap, like beating him like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that?
I had nothing to do with it.
Okay. But you just sat there.
Allegedly. But
was he an RA? Is that why?
No, he wasn't an RA.
Oh. Okay.
RAs thought it was funny.
I mean, again. Well, you know what? The theme of this pod has been bullying, Grant. I think that's bullying now.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be. Well, what about when I put tape down the middle of the room because he refused to share?
Like share what? Like the TV or what?
No, I had the TV. He had an Xbox, and he locked up his Xbox and wouldn't let me use it unless he was in the room because he thought I was going to steal it. Thought I was going to steal it as someone who lives in the same room as him.
Well, where did you put it if you stole it?
I honestly don't know what was going through his head. And then he was having special time on the top bunk at one time while I was asleep on the bottom bunk. He was not a good roommate.
Mango, did you have bunk beds, or were you away for college?
Yeah, I went away for a semester. Did not like where I was at, but yeah, one time I took people were using my they're using my Xbox to watch a movie, and they were just kind of, yeah, I was letting them use it, and they were kind of being annoying, and I was just like, all right, well, I'm taking the Xbox because you guys are pissing me off. And took it, and they got really pissed off about it. I was like, well, then don't be annoying and make fun of me about some BS.
Wait a second, were you Grant's roommate?
No, I was not Grant's roommate.
Did they put tape down the middle of your room?
No, were you having fun time in the top bunk?
No, that was not me. One thing.
Do you have a premium account on certain websites?
No, I know you do, and you like snickerdoodle cookies though. But
oh gosh, I'm so excited for tomorrow.
I'm so not. Oh boy, I'm sorry, Mango. Did I cut off your story?
No. One other thing my one roommate used to do. We had a roommate that slept all day Saturday. And he would never wake up. Right, like he would wake up and we'd have to wake him at 8 p.m. That's when we would wake him up. And he'd be like, guys, like I'm gonna sleep all day. Just wake me up or whatever. So my friend would look for creative ways to wake him up every Saturday. So one of the ways to get him out of bed was he went to the freezer and just took all of the meat and the freezer and just threw it in his bed. So it was like, imagine just laying in bed with just a ton of meat that's freezing cold all over your body. It's just terrible.
Did you eat the meat afterwards?
I never ate the meat, dude. I never ate it. I was not a part of that. I had a meal plan at the school, so I didn't have to touch that. Thankfully, I didn't have to play any part in that.
Oh boy, that sounds like good times. My freshman year, I just I didn't adjust very well to college. My freshman year, I partied a lot with my roommates, Thomas Everett Scott, Mark Paul Gazier, of course, from Saved by the Bell. Like we had a great time. We had an extra room. It was like just the three of us. We happened to have an extra room as it was going on, and 1 week turned into 2 weeks, turned into 3 weeks, turned into 4 weeks as far as partying, and I was kind of neglecting my schoolwork. And I realized at one point it kind of hit me, and we're closing in the end of the semester, and I was like, if I flunk out or if I get less than a B average, I'm lose my scholarship. And I thought that was the end of me. I was getting kicked out of college. I had the money to afford it. And then one day at an old, random, like Wednesday night, an old dude at a kind of this rundown bar told me this old adage at this college I was at. He was telling me, like, look, here's the deal. If by chance your roommate happens to like kill themselves, then, you get straight A's.
This is getting dark.
Yeah, this is amazing. This is wild. So he told me, he's like, look, if you're, I mean, I'm not encouraging it, but what we did is we said, listen, this is what we got to do. We got to get, we have an empty room. Let's find a fourth person that might be on the edge. You know what I mean? And then we all get straight A's.
This sounds super dark.
Yeah, this has gone way too extreme.
This actually sounds like Dead Man on Campus, a movie you guys have not seen. I did not live with Mark Paul Gazier from Saved by the Bell and Thomas Everett Scott.
I thought you were just making some random analogy to your situation.
Did when you mentioned those names, I thought you were shouting out your old roommates, like you were listening to the pod.
Yo, Mark Paul, I know you're out there doing your accounting work, but thanks for listening to the podcast.
And that just shows how much I don't understand references of actors and stuff. That's what's so amazing about it.
I knew there was no chance Van Gogh and the other Dead Man on Campus reference. I thought for sure that Grant maybe has seen it or is aware of the concept.
I think I have seen it. I've heard that actually being the case, and they reference it in a whole bunch of movies.
Yeah. But so that didn't. That wasn't me. That didn't really happen. That was just a movie. And yeah, there you go.
I was really hoping that you were gonna go with like, we have a fourth room. Let's just put crime scene tape and like tell this faculty he died. Just look in the obituaries. Oh, this guy. All right. That's where I thought you were going with it.
Yeah, it got really dark really quickly, and I was like, well, now I'm starting to feel bad, and I shouldn't have mentioned this, but I thought somebody would get the reference. But I don't know. One listener out there was like, well, wait a second. Yeah. All right, so one more time, Grant, tell people what to do to get themselves a T-shirt.
In the comment section on the RG page that has a podcast, leave a comment with your best roommate story or worst roommate story.
Yeah.
And if it's your parents, I don't think it counts.
Well, yeah, probably not. Or just make one up.
Yeah, I mean, if it's clever enough, we might give it to you.
Sure, why not? I mean, the guy last week said he was cousins with a Foster. For all we know, maybe he is. I don't know. Congratulations to him. Mangone, finish something strong. Let's get something good before we step aside and get out of here.
Something strong. I will only be playing one quarterback in my lineups this week. There you go. I won't be playing two. Just want to make sure I'm giving full transparency to the people.
Grant, can you top that?
Joe Flacco outscores Deshaun Watson.
That's strong. It's probably incorrect, but it is.
I mean,
strong.
it's been correct 100% of the last 1 week.
Well, there you go.
If you're opening a sports book, Grant, I wanted on that bet.
Actually, it has been right 2 weeks in a row.
I don't know. I've not looked at the numbers, to be perfectly honest, but I guess no, but maybe. I'm not really sure. That's it. We ran long enough. Thanks for sticking around. If you guys listen to the entire thing, we appreciate it. Again, this should not be the last podcast you listen to. More and more information coming out throughout the week. There's plenty of pods here on the RG Network. And, of course, we go all the way up to Sunday and do our live shows Sunday morning. I'm sure you guys are aware of that as well. He's Mangone. He's Grant. I'm Dean. Thanks for listening to the Absolutely Epic Early Week Podcast, Week 5. We're out of here. Holler.